They say faith is strongest when tested. But what happens when the test takes everything? Your family, your name, your very flesh. When the sky itself turns away and no answer comes, would you still kneel or would you break? Welcome to Arcane Origins, and today we're going to talk about the story of a man who lost the world and still called it grace. There once lived a man named Job in the iron lands of Uzi, a place where dawn rose through dust and gold. He was a man without stain, upright in all his ways, one who feared the Maker and turned his face from evil. His halls were filled with laughter and light. 7 sons, 3 daughters, countless servants. The echo of wealth clung to him like a crown. 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 oxen, 500 donkeys. Among all the people of the East, none stood higher, none shone brighter. One day, beyond the veil of mortal sight, the sons of heaven gathered before their Creator, and with them, in the shadows, came the adversary. The Lord asked, "Where have you come from?" And the accuser answered, "From wandering the earth, tracing its wounds and its wonders." Then the Lord said, "Have you seen my servant Job? There is no one like him, blameless, upright, faithful." The accuser's smile was thin. "Does he serve you freely? You've wrapped him in your favor. Strip away his comfort, his wealth, his safety, and he'll curse you to your face." The Lord replied, "Then take what he owns. Test him, but do not touch his life." And so it began. One day, as the sun bled into gold, a messenger came running to Job's home, his voice fractured by terror. The oxen were plowing, the donkeys grazing near. Raiders came. They struck the servants down. I alone survived. Before his words had cooled in the air, another stumbled in, eyes wide with horror. Fire fell from the heavens. It devoured the sheep and every man who tended them. I alone escaped. Then came a third. The Chaldeans swept in like storm winds, stole your camels, killed your servants. I alone escaped. And then, as silence trembled, a fourth. His voice broke like glass. Your sons and daughters, they were feasting in their brother's house. A great wind struck from the desert. The house collapsed. They are gone, all of them. I alone escaped. In the span of a breath, Job's world unraveled. Wealth turned to ashes, joy to mourning. He tore his robe, shaved his head, and fell upon the ground. Not to curse, but to worship. Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I shall return. The Lord gives, and the Lord takes away. Blessed be his name. And in all this, Job did not sin. Time passed, and again the sons of heaven stood before the Creator, and again the accuser came. "Where have you come from?" the Lord asked. "From roaming the earth," he replied, "watching men fall and rise." The Lord said, "Have you seen my servant Job? Still blameless, still upright. You moved against him, yet he remains unbroken." The accuser's eyes darkened. Skin for skin. A man will give all for his life. Strike his flesh, his bones, and he will curse you to your face. And the Lord said, "He is in your hands, but spare his life." Boils and sores bloomed upon Job's skin, raw and burning. He moved like a broken shadow, his body aching with every breath. Stripped of children, wealth, and health, he was a ghost of the man he once was. He wandered to the city's edge, where the refuse of the living met the silence of the dead. There he sat among ashes, a shard of pottery in his hand, scraping at his wounds. His wife, weary and hollow-eyed, looked upon him and whispered, "Do you still hold to your integrity? Curse God and die." But Job turned to her, grief and strength intertwining in his voice. "You speak like one lost to despair. Shall we accept good from God and not also sorrow?" And still, he did not sin. From distant lands came 3 old friends, Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar, men who once shared his laughter. When they saw him from afar, they did not know him. They tore their robes, cast dust into the air, and sat beside him in silence for 7 days and 7 nights. For grief so deep had no language. Then Job spoke. His voice, cracked and hollow, filled the empty sky. "Let the day perish on which I was born. Let the night be forgotten that said, a man is conceived. Why did I not die at birth or fade before seeing the sun? He longed for rest, an end to the endless ache. His friends, shaken by his despair, could stay silent no more. Eliphaz said, no innocent man suffers so. The wicked reap what they sow. Perhaps, Job, you have sinned. Job answered, what's sin? My heart is clean. You twist my pain into proof. Even if he crushes me, I will speak truth. Bildad cried, your children must have sinned. God is just. If you were righteous, he would restore you. Job rose with fury. You dare speak of my dead? If only God would answer. I would plead my case before him. Then Zophar, cold and certain, said, you lie to yourself. Beg for mercy before the Almighty finishes what he's begun. And so began the debate. 3 voices of judgment, 1 man of sorrow. Faith against reason, pain against pride, silence against the storm. But somewhere beyond their words, God was listening. Then the sky broke. From within the storm came a voice, terrible, beautiful, and alive with power. Who is this that darkens counsel with words without knowledge? Stand like a man. I will question you, and you will answer me. Lightning danced across the clouds as the voice thundered. Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Who measured its breadth, stretched its line, set its cornerstone? Have you commanded the dawn, or loosed the chains of the stars? Can you summon the lightning, or give the horse its strength? Can you hunt for the lion, or feed the ravens their prey? Visions filled the sky, of oceans raging, mountains trembling, beasts untamed. The Leviathan thrashing in the deep, the behemoth breathing thunder. Creation in its wild glory, power beyond comprehension. Can you draw on Leviathan with a hook? Said the Lord. Can you bind the chaos that bows to no man? Who then dares to stand against me? And Job, small, trembling, undone, fell silent. He whispered, I am nothing. I have spoken beyond understanding. I had heard of you, but now I have seen you with my own eyes. I repent in dust and ashes. The storm quieted, and the Lord turned to Eliphaz and said, you and your friends have not spoken truth of me as my servant Job has. Bring offerings and let Job pray for you. They obeyed. Job prayed, and the Lord listened. Then light returned to Job's house. The winds of loss were stilled. His fortunes were restored, twice what they had been. 14,000 sheep, 6,000 camels, 1,000 oxen, 1,000 donkeys. Again, 7 sons and 3 daughters. He lived 140 years more, long enough to see his children's children to the 4th generation. And when his days were done, Job died, an old man, full of years, full of peace. But his story did not fade. It lingered like smoke after the fire, a testament to faith forged in pain. The accuser had said, he only worships because you bless him. He tried to twist devotion into transaction, faith into bargain. That is the voice that still whispers in the dark. You've fallen too far. You sinned too deep. God's done with you. But there is another voice, the voice of the advocate, one who bears scars instead of accusations. When the darkness says, you are abandoned, he says, you are mine. Being faithful does not mean life will be kind. It means when the fire comes, you do not let go. For the Maker's ways reach beyond sight, his wisdom deeper than sorrow. And though we may cry, break, question, rage, still he is there. And in his time, he restores. He brings light from ruin, joy from ashes, life from loss. May Job's story remind you, you are never truly alone, and no storm, no shadow can silence the hand that holds creation.